Welcome to Group 4's Strategic Recommendation Pitch. Our team consists of Caitlin, Kylie, Ryan, myself, and Lindsay, and we'll be presenting on Nike's strategic analysis and our recommendation for their future strategy. The external environment Nike finds itself in is quite stable with the constant customer base. However, the areas of threat that they should be concerned about include the technological field, the economy, and environmental and political factors. In technology, e-commerce has become ever more globally expansive and is a way to reach a global audience, as well as meet the expectations of athletic professionals as well as athleisure consumers across the globe that might not be able to reach stores nearby, especially with focus on brick and mortar stores. In terms of the economy, there's an increasing competition between apparel companies as many new and niche businesses enter the market, which can cause complications with patents and patent infringement. As far as the environment, consumers are more interested in green companies and fair labor practices, and showing them that we are using sustainable resources and sustainable business practices in general will be a good way to increase revenue and brand loyalty. As far as political threats go, trade relations between the US and other countries, specifically in Southeast Asia, could damage revenue for any apparel company manufacturing outside of the company. Although specifically for Nike, with so many manufacturing facilities worldwide, they can negate some of the expenses that could come with tariffs if they are implemented. And next, Ryan will take us through the industry analysis.
Nike operates in an industry with high intensity of rivalry, as there are many other big players such as Adidas, Under Armour, and New Balance. The rivalry stays high largely in part due to low growth rates and overcapacity in the marketplace. And despite this overcapacity, the threat of new entrants is moderate, as the athleisure market is currently being flooded with niche brands marketed toward women. The bargaining power of suppliers is low, as the majority of materials needed to produce athletic shoes and apparel are considered widely available commodities. On the flip side, the bargaining power of buyers is moderate due to very low switching costs that come along with low individual buying power. And finally, the threat of substitutes is low, as athletic shoes and apparel are specifically designed for athletic activity with no other products serving this specialized purpose.
Through VRO analysis, we discovered these three resources and capabilities gave Nike a sustained competitive advantage. Through brand recognition, in 2019, Nike's sales almost doubled Adidas' sales. Through the BLM and controversial advertising campaigns, especially with Colin Kaepernick, there was a 10% growth in sales from that specific campaign when most people thought there would be a dive. Air Jordan has helped Nike gain an 86% market share in the basketball performance shoe industry, which is something they did not think they would have in the 1980s when Adidas was double their market share for that group. And now Caitlin's going to talk about strategic alternatives.
After evaluating Nike's position in the environment it competes in, we've come up with three strategic alternatives for your company. Our first strategic alternative is to create fitness studio partnerships, beginning with the Equinox Group. Nike is skilled at forming these exclusive partnerships with professional athletes and sports teams, but they should connect with this group to promote their athleisure products to the growing women's market. The Equinox Group targets a specific segment of customers who wear athleisure gear to spin classes, yoga, Pilates, and in their daily life. Our second strategic alternative is for Nike to develop contract tracing technology to add to professional level sportswear and eventually sell to all customers. Nike may develop this on their own or partner with their previous partner, Apple, or Connexion. Connexion's Safe Zone technology was the first to be used in football and NCAA's famous March Madness tournament this year. These devices were tucked into socks or sewn into jerseys. Connexion may be the first mover in the product, but they desperately need Nike's ad and an athlete's perspective. Maybe they could add temperature, hydration, or oxygen indicators to help every athlete perform at their best level and keep the sport safe. Our final and strongest strategic alternative is for Nike to sponsor athletes and professional teams in India and South Korea. The GDP in both countries is growing, and there's also a rise in consumerism, which is very positive. Kylie will tell you more about this recommendation and how exactly it'll work for your company.
Caitlin mentioned the ability to partner with additional exclusive individual athletes in developing countries is the strongest alternative that there is in the strategy realm. Partially because Nike has been so good at creating these partnerships and capitalizing off of these athletes, as well as the fact that it provides an opportunity for growth in countries that really do have this high growth potential, especially as the athletic market has a very stable kind of growth in this area. So as we mentioned, that Nike has done this before and has succeeded, especially in increased brand visibility. And it also creates a greater social media effectiveness across all their platforms. So just as an idea and an example in the US market, look at Tiger Woods. Tiger Woods is sponsored by Nike. And in one Masters performance alone, Nike received $22.5 million in free brand awareness by him just wearing their products and the video cameras capturing his performance on the Masters that day. So if we actually look at South Korea and India, we wanted to find athletes in the national teams that really were popular across consumers in these countries. So looking at South Korea, Jung-Hoo Lee, he is a South Korean baseball player, which is one of the most popular sports in that country. And then in India, Suresh Raina, who is a cricket player in India, which is also one of the most popular sports in that country. So when looking at athletes, we wanted athletes that were not sponsored by any other competitors that Nike deals with. We wanted athletes that have high potential growth in their future careers, as well as just athletes that were in the popular sports across all these countries so we could connect with the most amount of consumers possible. So looking at a 3-year strategic plan, in year 1, it's all about establishing these partnerships, creating the exclusive contracts, providing the sponsored equipment, and really beginning advertising creatives. So through these partnerships, Nike can also capitalize on their sustained competitive advantage of marketing and really get out to their consumers in the way their consumers like. In year 2, it's about running advertising campaigns and the occurrence of these start of the seasons. So making sure that we're capitalizing on the start of the season and that where consumer awareness is top of mind. And then year 3, evaluating KPIs. Did this work? Did this not work? And maybe seeing where there's additional athletes in these countries that could possibly be someone else to add to a contract. So overall, this is the strongest option for Nike to consider due to their experience in this area. And we'd like to thank you for listening and open it up to questions.